everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to some of your parenting assumptions about me because we all know that it's really healthy to actually solicit people to tell you what they assume about you. But I'm sure it's going to be fine. Also, this video is sponsored by Squarespace, more about them later, but let's just dive straight into your assumptions. Let's go. You try and 50-50 parent, but you still end up doing more due to jobs and lifestyle. I mean, I think this pretty much hits the nail on the head. Other than the trying to 50-50 parent, I think if we were trying to 50-50 parent, we would be like more frustrated and angry. But because we already accepted that, wasn't possible with choices and jobs and lifestyle, then, can be a bit more like relaxed about it. So whilst everything obviously isn't 50-50, that doesn't mean that we're not both putting in like 100% of what we can, if that makes sense. Secure attachment bond, healthy dynamic, Montessori raising approach. Okay, so there are a few assumptions like this. It was like Montessori, secure attachment. And I'm like, what are those things? I vaguely know about Montessori from Jessica's videos. Secure attachment, I could make a good guess as to what that is. We're doing parenting, but I don't know if we're doing a specific kind. But secure attachment bond and healthy dynamic, they sound great. I hope we're doing those. You read a lot of parenting books or other media? No, none. Oh wait, actually, so no parenting books, other media. Since having Rowan, I follow a few parenting Instagram accounts, okay? I follow Emily Foster, is that her name? The like data one, and then like Big Little Feelings, even though like we've not gotten to the age of the content that they make being like relevant yet, but I still like enjoy it for future, like understanding toddlers' emotions. You had your baby without properly realizing how much this would affect your career. Do you know what? Yes, like I think I knew it would have an impact, but I wasn't expecting how much. Okay, this one came up a lot. Basically everyone assumed that Dan is a more chill parent, and you would be correct. But that doesn't mean that I'm not chill, all right? Dan is just the most chill person I've ever met. It's hard to be chiller than Dan. You choose all of Rowan's clothes. I choose most of them. We currently have a gifted subscription from Bundley, which is like one of those baby clothes rental companies that I reviewed in a past video. They kindly gifted us 3 months of clothes. So I picked all of those, and then I'm more likely to be secondhand shopping for him, and then a lot of the other clothes we got from family and friends. But then on a day-to-day basis of dressing Rowan, I'm mostly the one who's there when it's time to get him dressed. But then on the weekend, Dan will pick his outfits usually. Dan does more cooking and you do more of everything else. So Dan is more of the home cook, the chef, but just because of work and dinner timings, I often do most of the midweek cooking and Dan does a lot of the weekend cooking. And then in terms of everything else, I don't know, Dan still does a lot of other stuff. He takes the bins out. That is so like heteronormative. It's so gender rolly, but honestly, I would rather him take the bins out than me. You didn't want to co-sleep at first, but found it worked best for your family. I mean, so far are all of these assumptions correct because I'm just basically an open book online. But yeah, I wasn't anti co-sleeping beforehand. It was just like, well, if we can get him to sleep in the cot or the crib or whatever, then great, we'll do that. And then that didn't happen. So it's fine, it's fine. There were 3 people who said this: crunchy parents. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, what the fuck is a crunchy parent? Are me and Dan crunchy parents? Features of crunchy parenting. Okay, so crunchy parenting refers to parents who prefer to bring up their children in the most natural, environmentally friendly way that they can. Crunchy parents often choose to trust their own natural instincts over mainstream options, such as choosing to breastfeed for longer than the commonly recommended time. It is believed that the term crunchy refers to parents making their own granola rather than buying it from a shop. I mean, I don't like granola, so where does that put me? So here are some features of crunchy parenting. Wanting a natural home birth? No. Breastfeeding? Yes. Cloth nappies rather than disposable? Tried it and failed. Homemade baby food? Sometimes. Natural medicine? Absolutely not. Baby wearing? Yes. Co-sleeping? Yes. Organic food? Sometimes. Homeschooling? No. So what does that make me? What does that make me? What box of parenting would you put me in? Dan doesn't like to be called daddy, just dad. I don't know, that's my guess. No, Dan is daddy. That you sometimes find it hard logistically not to show his face online. Yes, he's obsessed with the camera, so anytime I'm vlogging and stuff, he gets involved. And there are many, many clips where we just give into it, and my friend, sister-in-law, Rowan's auntie, edits these videos. So there are many clips that she gets to see where I'm just like, Rowan, say hi to Auntie Bethan. It's fine. Auntie Bethan knows to cover up Rowan's face. Sorry for all of the like keyframing of emojis that you have to do, Beth. Trying to be a feminist, but also realizing at the current stage it's not possible. Here's the thing, you can be the most traditional housewifey kind of mother and still be a feminist. Just because I'm a mum doesn't mean I've stopped believing in equality. So I'm absolutely still a feminist, and I would say that my lifestyle and our home setup is still a feminist one, because it's about the intentions there, and any inequality or unhappiness that there is in that dynamic isn't the fault of the individuals involved, but more the systems. And I am very much here for still tearing down those systems. So still feminist. You fight about you having more responsibility in taking care of Rowan, but you want equal care. Well, we don't fight about that. We talk about it, but there's been no fighting or disagreements over it. I don't want equal care, I just want whatever works for us. And at the moment, that is just what it is. So before I go through some more of your assumptions, let me tell you about this video's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build your brand, online presence, business, side hustle with beautifully designed websites that allow you to engage with your audience, show off your work, and sell products and services. All of my websites for my various different projects are hosted on Squarespace. I have been using them for years, and you can now use Fluid Engine, which is Squarespace's next generation website design system. They've got tons of flexible website templates, and you can customize every detail, dragging and dropping. It is so easy. You can create absolutely stunning websites without knowing anything about web design. Squarespace also provides really great analytics, so you can get those important insights into your audience or your community to help grow your business. From site visits to shop sales to the most popular content or products. These insights can help you in understanding how to improve your website or your marketing. Squarespace also has an online store where you can sell physical and digital products. It is where we sell these sexy scribbles coloring in books if you want to go and check them out. And another amazing feature that Squarespace has is appointments. So if you have a business where people maybe are booking your services and appointments, or maybe you're running workshops or events, you can offer all of these things on Squarespace, and they will handle the payments, the schedule, and the email reminders. Dreamy. So if you want to create your own beautiful website, then head to squarespace.com to start your free trial. And when you are ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/morehannah to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Okay, on with your assumptions. That you are being super intentional about being as gender neutral as possible. There are a few assumptions about this, and I can see why. I made a whole video about how we weren't going to be finding out the gender/sex/genitals of our baby before they were born. But this is an interesting one because I do feel like we are being really intentional, but also at this age, they don't really have a gender at this point, or a concept of gender at this point. So it's just more about the language that we use around him. I think because our gender norms are so pervasive in society, and especially this idea of like male being default, I often fall into the trap of like all of his stuffed animals and all of his toys, or any like character in a book, I like would automatically go to say like he, like, oh, it's Monkey, isn't he fun? And I realize I'm like, oh, I'm like defaulting to thinking of all of these creatures as male. And so one thing that I'm being really intentional about is just like switching up pronouns with all of the different things and characters and stuff that we interact with. And then the other thing is like clothes. And annoyingly, again, because male is the default and it's like seen as neutral, often like gender neutral clothes just means not pink and purple and frilly. But then also like I like to dress him in colors that I like. So he wears a lot of like oranges and yellows and blues and greens. And very often he does look like a little boy. But then when we're out and about at the playground in what I think is a very like boy-y outfit, people will be like, oh, how old is she? So like, who knows, honestly? I think it's his eyelashes. That you are gentle parenting Rowan. Again, another one. I've heard of this. Auntie Bethan has sent me some TikToks about gentle parenting. I don't know. You take the baby with you wherever you go and you go places a lot. Yes, I would say that I very much try and do this. I visited my friend Lena's home in the Midlands recently and took Rowan with me. Were those some difficult train journeys by myself? Yes, but it was worth it. You Google, is X normal frequently? Yes. So, didn't read any of the parenting books, but spent a lot of time awake in the middle of the night breastfeeding in those early days, and still now sometimes being like, is this normal? When can a baby do this? When can a baby do this? When can you give a baby this? Can my baby do this? Should my baby be doing this? There's a lot of Googling. You don't feel much parental guilt. Do you know what? I don't think I do. I don't know how I escaped it. I get it every now and then, but I think for the most part, I'm very happy and content with my choices. You've given up hobbies since becoming a parent, and he hasn't. He meaning my husband Dan. So yes and no, we've both given up hobbies. Dan's main hobby is video games, and he's been able to do some of that, but not like multiplayer things, nothing that like you wouldn't be able to pause. So he can play games that he can like stop and start, but any game that requires like, I'm now locked into this game for 40 minutes, he's had to like give those up. And also Dan has given up his whole like desk and computer setup for Rowan's bedroom. Like Dan now no longer has like a computer desk video gaming place. As for me, my main hobbies before Rowan was born were tennis and reading. I have not been able to play any tennis, but I have got some lessons booked in and I'm very excited to start playing tennis again. Reading, I've just switched to audiobooks. That's just like the main way that I get reading done. Yeah, we've both had to make sacrifices and I think that's how it should be and what you should really expect. You're a naked mom! I think I know what this is referring to. Like Dan and I will just be naked and we're not gonna like cover ourselves up. God forbid Rowan sees us naked. And I don't plan on covering myself up anytime around him unless, you know, he's a bit older and he explicitly asks me to, and I'll be like, okay, fair enough. I don't want to pass on to him any shame about the body. You only feed your son organic food. No. Dan does most of the fruit and veg shopping, so I don't know, but we just buy food. I don't know if we exclusively buy organic food. I don't think so. Outdoorsy parents. We're not like the hiking and camping kind, but we're like getting on the tube and going to central London outdoors kind. Anti-private school. Yes. I wouldn't send Rowan to a private school, and in fact I think that all private schools should be abolished. You don't say no to your son. Ugh, I wish. He is now at that age where we are saying no a lot, and I don't know how to not do it, and I wish I said it less, but it's just like, no, don't do that, no, stop doing that, no, please Rowan, please stop, no, no, no. You are strict about limiting screen time. Another one that maybe I wish we were more strict at, but our like living room, dining room, and kitchen is like all one room. And so the TV is often on, like often just playing YouTube videos or whatever in the background. And for the most part, Rowan ignores it. Unless we do put on like the Teletubbies or Bluey, then he's into it. And by him being into Bluey, I mean he likes the theme song. And then once the actual episode starts, not into it, but I'm just hoping he gets into Bluey. I will use screen time if I just need him to like for 5 minutes. He was ill recently and the only thing that chilled him out and calmed him down was Miss Rachel. So thank you, Miss Rachel. You are more sleep deprived than he is. Yes, I'm the one breastfeeding at night, but occasionally Rowan will not be settled by the boob and then Dan has to step in and like stand up and rock him. You are against sleep training. Oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I find crying it out and all of that stuff kind of distressing, but lots of people that I know have done some form of like a more gentle sleep training and they're like, oh my God, it's amazing. It like saved our sleep. Like, and part of me is really jealous. Like, I'm like, oh my God, do we do that? So I find it very tempting, but I'm like not quite there yet. I'm apprehensive, but I'm like peeking, just being like, oh, what is that? That's how I feel. You won't be too worried about what solids you're weaning Rowan with. I mean, we have tried weaning him with all kinds of different solids, but weirdly enough, the like eating part of baby development is the one area that I felt like we're doing badly, or I felt like some kind of comparison over. Like every other area, like I feel like quite chill, but the eating, I'm just like, oh no, I'm not like cooking him good enough food, or like we're not exposing him to as many like textures or flavors that we should be. But I try to kind of like just be like, we are doing our best with what we have, and that is fine. It's fine. You are the stricter one. I don't know, we've not really gotten to the stage where our strictness has been fully exposed. So I don't know. We'll report back on that one. But at the moment, it feels like our level of strictness is kind of similar. And also one of the things that we're really keen to do is make a conscious effort that we are a team and we're not against each other. So if one of us says, oh, we shouldn't let him do that, then the other person then takes that on as well, so that there is like consistency with the parenting. So it's not one of us saying, no, Rowan, don't do that, and the other person being like, oh, it's fine. It's like, if one of us says, do you think we should maybe like respond to this with this, and the other person agrees, then suddenly it's like, okay, that's the method now. This is the united front. That's how it's going at the moment. You already started a trust fund for Rowan. I don't know what a trust fund is, but we have started a junior ISA for him. Is that the same thing? We've started a savings account for him, essentially. So that's something that like, when family give money for Christmas or Hanukkah or birthdays, then that'll go in there. And then Dan and I are also going to be contributing to it as well. Okay, so those are some of your parenting assumptions about me. Were my answers what you expected or not? I feel like most of you like understood the vibe. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. You can head to squarespace.com to start your free trial, and when you are ready to launch into the world, go to squarespace.com/morehannah to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks again for watching. I hope you're well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!